See, this is the problem I see with scammers, and I'm going to make you think for a second. This is a make you think. So, scammers try to weave in the gray area, but they do it in a way that causes harm, and there's no good. There's gray areas where there's need or want, or there's supply and demand, or stuff like that. Then there's areas like the heroin trade, the human trafficking trade, scamming, that just hurt. Like scamming hurts old people on Social Security and the weak and the disabled the most. There are lots of victims of scamming. But here's the problem with scammers. They think they're untouchable or they're weaving from the law. But you're taking somebody's grandmother's money and then some gangbanger murderer who just did 10 years finds out he has to support his grandmother because you stole his money and he tracks you down. That guy doesn't care about the gray area. And that's the one thing. Your little scammer, he's trying to weave in the gray area. You got actual criminals out there so trying to support their families. It is bad. So that's the one thing that these scammers and some of these gray area people don't understand. You can't go around hurting people if it's legal or not. There'll always be somebody who will take it into their own hands. And then that person will go to jail, bad things will happen. It always. There are people who are just fed up. Then there are people who try to do the gray areas. Then there's people who do the gray areas with not giving a crap who they hurt. Then there's the people who do the gray areas trying to help people. And then there's people like me who try to just stay in the white. I have dabbled in the gray areas. Don't get me wrong. This hemp thing I would call a gray area. Cigarettes I would call a gray area. Alcohol I would call a gray area. So I've dabbled in the gray area. Weed, that's a gray area. K2, that's a gray area. Scamming, that's a gray area. Some of this Bitcoin stuff is a gray area. A lot of these wealthy, these scams that are built so the wealthy can get richer at the expense of the people at the bottom, those are definitely scams, and they definitely are in the gray area. I see quite a bit of these legal big corporate scams where a big corporation uses some legal humble bumble language to basically say, I can take all your money and your property and move it into my bank account, and ha 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 ha, it's because I have more money than you. That's so a scam. That is so. If a guy's walking down the street working hard his whole life, and then all of a sudden you make up a new law and he loses everything, that's a scam. If the people don't want it, the people didn't vote for it, none of the honest politicians want it, and somehow, by God's mean, we're paying to bail out the airport or some little tiny, there's better ones than that. That's a scam. So you have a lot of actual scammers going after little old ladies. But what they don't account for is those crazy people who they were pumped full of drugs because they were scammed into taking lots of pills they didn't need. Because don't forget, you also have pharmaceutical insurance scammers out there. You have scammers in life. There'll always be somebody strong trying to get more from somebody who's weak. That's going to always be the case until we actually start caring about one another. Then we're all strong. That's simple. If you got 300 people, 5 of them disabled, 295 regular, half of those regular people are very strong individuals, and then you have 100 very selfish people all broken up together trying to get theirs, and they're very lazy. They're trying to vacation all the time. They're buying yachts and 2 private jets, and this is their lifestyle. They're not going to work together well with others. I don't think so. Who do you think actually makes the decisions when you make a world with those type of communities? The people that work together. Even though there's 5 that aren't strong, those 5 become very strong. Maybe one's a savant. Maybe one can remember pi up to the billionth digit. Maybe one's in a wheelchair, but he develops some type of math problem that helps the world. Maybe one just thinks a different way. Maybe one sees the big picture. Maybe those disabled people each have one little tiny trait that helps another 50 people because you're all working off each other. So you're all strong. You're all got each other's strengths, and you guys fix each other's weaknesses until they do not exist. Meanwhile, the other side is just trying to steal or take as much as they can in the little time they have from others. That doesn't work in a community.